Despite being repeatedly targeted by large-scale raids, online scam centers across Southeast Asia remain remarkably resilient. Their survival is largely attributed to their ability to relocate quickly, conceal themselves in remote areas, and, in many cases, operate under the protection of local power brokers. As a result, the battle to dismantle this multi-tens of billions of dollars criminal industry continues to face immense challenges, even as some of its most notorious kingpins have been brought to justice. On January 7th, Cambodian authorities announced the arrest of Chen Ji, an alleged crime boss believed to be at the center of a transnational scam network, along with two other Chinese nationals, Xu Liang and Xiao Zhihui. The arrests were made as part of a cross-border investigation conducted in cooperation with Chinese authorities in Beijing. Earlier, prosecutors in the United States and the United Kingdom had indicted Chen, accusing him of leading an international criminal organization involved in labor exploitation and large-scale online fraud targeting victims worldwide. These scams often begin in the most ordinary and unsuspecting ways. A message offering a part-time job, a casual question about weekend availability, or even a simple hello can be enough to ensnare a victim. Once a response is given, the conversation gradually evolves into what appears to be a harmless exchange, carefully designed to build trust. Few realize that behind these seemingly benign interactions lies a meticulously scripted operation whose ultimate goal is to drain victims' bank accounts. The human cost of this industry is staggering. Hundreds of thousands of people are believed to be trapped in massive scam compounds scattered across Southeast Asia. They're victims of human trafficking, forced to carry out online fraud schemes with the sole purpose of stealing money from strangers, often people living thousands of kilometers away. Experts warn that even the arrest of infamous figures like Chen Ji is unlikely to significantly weaken the foundations of an industry that has become deeply entrenched. The system is sustained by multiple layers of intermediaries, including financial backers, armed groups providing protection, and cross-border recruitment networks. When one link in the chain is broken, others are quick to step in and fill the void. The limited effectiveness of crackdowns is evident in recent history. In October last year, Myanmar's military launched a major raid on KK Park, one of the country's most notorious scam compounds, located along the Thai-Myanmar border. Authorities declared that all operations at the site had been shut down. However, KK Park was only one of dozens of scam centers operating along the same border. Following the shutdown, activities at other scam hubs in Myanmar continued largely uninterrupted. Some even became more active, absorbing waves of workers who fled from KK Park. Victims trafficked from around the world remain trapped in these facilities, waiting for a chance, often slim, to be rescued. Myanmar is far from alone. Hundreds of similar scam centers are scattered across Southeast Asia, including in Cambodia, Laos, and the Philippines. Their continued existence highlights just how difficult it is to eradicate an industry that can rapidly relocate, rebrand, and resume operations shortly after enforcement actions. These scam compounds are typically built in mountainous or rural areas to minimize oversight and surveillance. Inside, they function as closed ecosystems, complete with worker dormitories, office spaces, shops, and even entertainment facilities. The design is intentional, to isolate those inside from the outside world and make escape nearly impossible. In many cases, developers construct a single large compound and lease sections of it to multiple companies. This allows several scam operations to run simultaneously while sharing infrastructure and manpower. Some facilities operate openly thanks to protection from corrupt officials or local armed groups. Smaller operations also exist, hidden within legitimate office buildings or even rented houses in residential neighborhoods. Many of today's scam centers trace their origins back to casinos, both physical and online, that proliferated across Southeast Asia over the past decade. In 2021 alone, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime recorded more than 340 licensed and unlicensed casinos in the region. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck, strict travel restrictions caused tourist arrivals and gambling revenues to collapse. Facing financial ruin, some casino operators pivoted to a new business model: online fraud. They repurposed existing infrastructure, computer systems, high-speed internet connections, and a workforce already familiar with high-risk financial activities, to scam victims around the world. According to a 2023 report by the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, an estimated 120,000 people in Myanmar and 100,000 in Cambodia are currently being forced to work in online scam operations. Many were lured by promises of high salaries, comfortable office jobs, and minimal skill requirements. The reality, however, is far more brutal. Survivors recount that their passports were confiscated upon arrival, eliminating any possibility of escape. Only senior managers and trusted aides were allowed to move freely. Workers who failed to meet fraud performance targets were beaten, threatened, or subjected to severe physical punishment. Initially, most trafficked workers came from China and other Chinese-speaking regions. Today, according to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, recruitment spans at least 56 countries, from Indonesia to Liberia. This diversity allows scam networks to target victims across regions, overcoming language and cultural barriers. Technological advancements, particularly AI-powered translation tools, have further expanded the reach of these operations. Scammers can now cast a global net using pre-written scripts that are easily adapted to different languages and audiences. In the Philippines, authorities raided a scam compound in March 2024 that specialized in defrauding Chinese nationals through fake investment schemes. Documents obtained by the media revealed that scammers impersonated senior executives of China National Petroleum Corporation, persuading victims to invest in fictitious crude oil futures contracts. In Cambodia, around 50 South Koreans were repatriated last year after being arrested on charges related to online scam operations. Meanwhile, the United States has intensified its efforts to dismantle the networks behind these schemes. In the indictment against Chen Ji, U.S. prosecutors stated that his organization defrauded at least 250 Americans of millions of dollars, including one victim who lost as much as $400,000 in cryptocurrency. According to the U.S. Treasury Department, Americans lost at least $10 billion in 2024 alone to scams linked to Southeast Asia. These schemes take many forms, ranging from cryptocurrency investment fraud to so-called task-based scams, in which victims are asked to pay money to unlock higher-paying tasks. In most cases, victims receive small initial payouts to build trust. Encouraged by these early successes, they are persuaded to invest increasingly large sums. Eventually, communication is cut off, and victims are left with devastating financial losses. Scammers often create a sense of urgency, warning that opportunities will vanish unless immediate action is taken. Although government raids have shut down some facilities and freed thousands of forced labor victims, experts argue that the masterminds behind these networks largely remain untouched. New scam centers continue to emerge, not only across Southeast Asia, but also in other regions under the direction of shadowy crime bosses. If we only rescue victims without arresting those behind the operations, especially the mafia groups and transnational corporations operating under legitimate fronts, then our efforts are like pouring water into a leaking bucket, said Jay Kritia, coordinator at the Civil Society Network for Human Trafficking Victim Support. The fight against online scam syndicates is therefore not a challenge for any single country to tackle alone. It requires sustained international cooperation among governments, global organizations, and the private sector to peel back the layers of protection shielding one of the world's most profitable and most ruthless criminal industry. Thank you for watching this story. If you found it meaningful, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video. And now it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for staying with Societal Stories.